still this voice in your head that's saying, no, you better go do something safe. And ultimately,
people who hated their jobs that maybe it would be the
So the important thing now about the process is the cost. Is it an issue?
I don't think he's charging enough.
That's an issue. No?
It was an issue for me. It was. It very much was for me.
Yep.
But my brother said you have to do this because you're miserable, and so I did. But it, and I think for probably a significant portion of the 70% of people that hate their jobs, it would be an issue.
I think it could be a barrier.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, just in terms of whether you have the support, whether you financially have the ability to, not only pay for the process, but if you were to just leave your job and not have something else to go into, and you had a spouse or somebody, a significant partner that was concerned about your ability to earn wages, the pressure may not allow you to fully engage in the process and really get what you want out of it.
Okay. I guess it wouldn't be fair to.
Can I ask a quick question? This is something that's occurred to me. There obviously is a big connection between Ray and LLB, and a lot of other people here came as individuals. And what I've been wondering is, core themes has often been thought of as or been identified as an outplacement type of service, but my feeling is, and I'll probably poison the water a little bit here, but my feeling is that more progressive companies can align themselves with core themes and have happier employees, that it does not need to be an outplacement at all. It needs to be a job satisfaction piece. Is there any thought or feeling around that?
Is there a risk and reward of that? I mean, if somebody, it says, they go in and they decide that they're really happier somewhere else and they leave their job. I mean, that's a part that could happen.
They
But
should
I don't
go
think,
anyway.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but that's just a part of the process.
That would be my view.
Right.
Well, I may be overly optimistic, but it seems like if you're an entrepreneurial company, that you want a staff of people that's entirely happy.
Right.
And there, once upon a time, companies offered people an opportunity to even if it meant that they were leaving, that they would be happier and they were doing the right thing philosophically. It may not be the right thing to the bottom line.
I don't disagree with you, Jeff. I just think it's at that point where
Just
maybe you lose
tossing it out
something
there.
in the process.
Right. The Apples of the world or the Googles of the world or some of the more progressive companies.
Yeah, there are a few of those.
Adopt that.
But I wonder, honestly, I'm just thinking, I think if you took the core themes product and changed it a little bit, but now go back to, my last job, which might have been someplace that would do this, but we were so busy and we had so much on my plate. If somebody told me I had to do something, it would be like one more thing. I think it was something that if they could offer it, like if you're interested in taking it, or if it's couched a little bit differently. But I think for somebody telling me I have to go through this 4-step process while I'm working, I'm already, that would be.
But if it's structured as part of a performance plan or something like that?
Yeah, that would piss me off. I don't like being structured.
Well, what
Autonomy is
about
ideal.
changing the perception that it's an outplacement kind of program, which is
I would
a
agree
bigger
with that.
question.
I think from what I heard from folks in the room and what I experienced myself is that I came to a point in my life where this was sort of a realization for me that I needed to go through this process. It's kind of like what you hear about people who stop smoking or whatever it is. And what I heard from other people is, I was in a meeting and I stepped out and had to do this, or I had a 5-minute break and I Googled. So I think that there has to be something within each person that they're at a point in their life where this is that window. There's a door closed and there's a window that opens and you have an opportunity to actually take this.
Which one of the door
It's the timing.
And whatever it is. I think I crawled through a window.
I just jump in and then I'm going to retreat to the shadows. But just to kind of tie everything together that we've just been talking about here is that I've spent a lot of time kind of pitching core themes to people at senior level management at a lot of different companies that you would recognize the names from. And as we just start talking, like 2, 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes into the conversation, they'll get up and say, excuse me, they'll go over and they'll close the door. They'll come back and they'll sit down and they'll say, I'm thinking about making a change in the next 2 to 3 years. Do you think, and I'm always, Ray's door is always open. Why don't you go have a cup of coffee and chat with Ray about the core themes process? Because I can't tell you if it's for you or not. But I'll tell you, most people, and what comes to mind is the unexamined life is not worth living. And most people that spend any time reflecting about where they are and where they're going in life, it's amazing. You talk about people with this natural curiosity and this wondering, and willingness to help. A lot of people out there are just, looking over the fence and see, is the grass really greener? What am I going to do next? And it's amazing how receptive people at that sea level are to the concept of core themes. So it's a pretty easy sell. But anyhow.
We're down to about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to try to wrap up around 7. Well,
We
maybe.
promise we get, I know some of you don't like to drive after dark, so we
Well,
wanted us to get you out
Yeah,
of
I'm old and
The truth.
Ray thought 3 hours was too long, and
I think it's
Are we
doable.
really almost 15 minutes?
Well, no, it's
Well,
6:45.
no, it's 4:45.
Oh,
We've got a
okay.
hard-
All right,
We've got a
that's
hard
different.
stop at 7:30, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll.
We could cover a lot of ground in 15 minutes
That's what
under your
That's
guidance.
That's what I'm thinking. If you shorten the runway, you
I'd
tend
like to say something. Can I say something?
Oh, yeah.
Back to your point a little bit. One of the things I do as part of leadership development is the first thing we call is a program called Managing Self. And usually first line managers, high potentials, and executive groups. So it runs the gamut on it. It's a 2.5-day program that concludes with a roundtable where they talk about what they're going to do differently to manage themselves, because that's where it starts. And there have been so often, and I can think of a client out in California, in La Jolla, that after it was over, 2 of the senior of the COO and the CFO independently came up to me and said, will you, take me through a program that helps me understand I'm miserable at what I'm doing, right? And while I coach, I don't go down that path, That's where, to be able to hand somebody off at that point, because I can only do so much and at that point. So I see that as a way of, as an add-on, an add-to in a corporate environment that somebody that I'd see a learning and development team investing in. So
Yeah.
I just had to say that.
That's a great point.
Could also almost do it with like not seminars per se, but having doing like an educational content piece for a company, and then seeing what comes out off of the side of it.
One of the challenges that we face is in building this out is the delivery system. There's one Ray. And so I would challenge you, and Ernie will echo this, I'm sure, as we go around the room for the balance of our time, try to talk about your core themes consultant without using Ray's name. Because try to think about an army of Rays out there. And that's the challenge that we're faced with, is replicating, cloning Ray, and think about not so much the personality Ray, but the character traits and the talents and abilities, the education, the skills, all of those things that form a composite that you came to know and trust and confide in. That would be my challenge to you guys, and that's what we're really hoping to take away as kind of a profile.
So at the end of the book, it talks about becoming a core themes consultant. Are there existing core themes consultants,
Yes,
extensions of Ray?
Yes.
About how many?
Not as many as we're going to have in about 6 months, but
So there already is a
Yeah.
certification process. I
there
read
is.
through it.
There's exactly.
Isn't that everybody's going to do it differently? I mean, and everybody makes those connection points. I have clients that go through that managing self, program, and I'm still coaching them, and it's 8 years now. because that whatever I did right, you know. And then there's other people that just couldn't stand me.
I think there's two
you know,
parts to that, Scott. One
So,
was
but my point on that, Tom, is that if to get the principles right, and can convey those across, then the other person's, as they would say in New York, shtick,
right.
you know, takes over and makes it work.
One of them, you're talking about the integrity of the program.
Correct.
The other is the paint on the outside, which
Right.
is basically can be any shade that you like.
Correct.
But the integrity, the methodology, all of those things are non-negotiable. That
Right.
those are, you know.
But somebody
etched in stone.
valued the therapy piece
Yeah. Exactly.
of the process, and other people probably value the business networking side of it more. So it's a pretty tough combination to have a business for-profit person who's also a pretty good therapist.
Well, it could be though that if you have enough consultants out there that are enough different shapes, colors, and may I say genders? I'm sorry, because I got that in. That people will gravitate towards towards particular. Not everybody's going to get along with everybody. Not everybody's going to feel like a particular personality is going to work for them.
But what are the critical skills, talents?
They have to be able to morph their communication style to the people they're working with. So they have to be open enough to be able to assess who's sitting in front of them and communicate with that person in a way that's comfortable for them. So they have to be almost, a little bit of a chameleon.
And even the therapy piece, I don't think necessarily has to be a PhD in psychiatry. It needs to be someone who knows how to ask the right questions and listen.
There you go.
That's
and
it.
that's to me.
That's a whole broad
and
spectrum
then,
of
and then be able to
that you
discern the insights about. I heard what they just said,
Right.
but what did they mean by what
Right.
they just said?
Because,
Right.
yeah.
That is a key. If they can't ask questions and shut up,
And then unpack that
and then
answer
unpack
and
that.
keep going.
That's such
don't
a
have to be a
key
psychiatrist
component
to
in
do
my
that.
mind. So.
And I think for Ray, it was, you knew he was present. 100% of the time that he was with you, he was 100% present.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I think if somebody has the ability to do that and make whoever they're with feel that they're there and they're listening and they ask the right questions, I think that's a huge part of it.
There's also someone needs to not only be Ray Light, but to really understand and reinforce the core themes, principles constantly. I always accused Ray of being like a broken record because he would often say things like, I just don't understand how people can work 40 years and be unhappy and continue to drive to work every day. And he'd just say that a bunch of times. And because one of the concepts that I hold to was this whole idea of clutter, because the clutter was the voice in my head that kept saying, okay, I got my core themes, I understand the process where I'm at, but geez, am I really gonna become an artist? And all these things would go, but you never had any artist training, you gotta get a real job, you can't make any money, so it's, I think Dave said it, once you have all that, there's still this voice in your head that's saying, no, you better go do something safe. And ultimately, it takes a big risk to take that leap of faith to whatever it is that core themes may lead you to do. And I think it takes a personal step, but also someone that understands that it is a risk, that it is hard to do, that it's not just, here's your core themes, now go do something else. It's not that easy.